What's going on, YouTube? You know me, it's your boy Manny, back with another intriguing episode of the story of Maegan. You guys know the deal. Before we get started, man, subscribe, like this video, and share it with others so that they can hear about the story of our girl Maegan. As always, we're keeping things classy here on the story of. And I want to kick things off with a little saying. This goes way back before my time, maybe not as far back as Michael Bowie's time, but they say beauty is skin deep, but ugly is straight to the bone. And that is true with my co-host. You guys already know him, Michael Bowie.
Thank you, Manny. And I have all of the pictures rearranged. Your picture is at the bottom because you're usually closer to the floor anyway. So I felt it would be fitting. And so there you are. But thank you. Welcome back, Maegan. We are here, episode 5. The story of Maegan Tietz, and we are jumping into it. Apparently, the audience loved that last episode, so we're here to give them more. Hopefully, we're going to blow out the views and subscriptions here on this episode. On the last episode, we talked about you marrying at a young age, and everything seemed to be going well. Was that marriage all good? Was every day good? At some point, were there bad days or...
Really, really good. Probably, I'd say until about 6 years into the marriage, I would say. We were married for ultimately 7 before we got divorced. So, we held it pretty solid. And don't they say that, there's that 7-year itch thing?
Now, what led to the divorce? Everyone has different reasons as to why they end up divorcing. What was the problem here?
Okay, so we were really involved in having our kids in sports and stuff, and we had the boys in baseball at the time, and we started hanging out with some of the baseball parents, and they also were friends of some of my old friends from school, so we would go to some after the park barbecues, and for the whole summer, around that 6th year, I felt uncomfortable around the people we were with. They would start pulling out the drugs at the parties, and the kids would be around, and then there started...
You say they, who's they?
Some of the parents.
Oh, at the actual parks? At these
gatherings? At the kids' barbecue after the baseball games, yeah, and it's... this triggered me because of how I grew up, so what was happening again was coming back around, and... I don't know how we found these group of people and how we fell into that, but it took a toll on our relationship because even not just the parents, but then other people started coming around that didn't even have kids in the baseball, with us. So, they turned into parties, not kids parties, adult parties. And I stopped going over there. I felt really uncomfortable. And I remember asking my husband, if he did go and hang out with these people, not to come home and wake me up. Because, if we go back, that story with my mom and dad and waking her up every night, hey, you want to party? So I just said, one thing I could ever ask you, just don't come home and wake me up. If I'm sleeping, just leave me be. And one night I remember he came home and he woke me up and he's like, hey, babe, you want to party? And ever since that day, it was never the same for me. Never. Because I felt really betrayed. I felt like if you cared, you wouldn't do that stuff around your children. You would listen to me. And then after that, we weren't friends no more. I'll put it that way.
Now, for those that are watching, they may not have seen some of the first few episodes to know what you're talking about. You had episodes where your mother and father also did kind of that same thing where they pulled out drugs in front of you when you were a young age. So this was kind of like, a trip down a dark memory lane to be put back inside that situation. So that led to the you guys not talking. Did you guys counseling, try and talk it out, or was it just one and...
It escalated. Our communication. Arguing went up and our communications went down. The kid's dad, I think they have a history in the family with bipolar, so that can really trigger your chemicals and change. Their dad started getting real, not violent with me, but breaking things. Just very short-tempered and mean and angry, and to me it was like split second when things changed. So we split up pretty quick. Just put it that way. We separated pretty quick. I was living in, the house that we were gonna buy from my grandmother, and we still had our other rental that we had. So he moved out to the other rental, and we got the divorce like probably 9 months later or so. So we went straight into, I've had to have, I would say, 2 PPOs already, probably by the time we were divorced for a year. And currently there's been 5 PPOs. So, it was a bad cycle of things, and I saw it coming, thank God, but, it sucks. It sucks when you don't have someone that understands where you're coming from. And I don't think he still to this day understands where I'm coming from.
This guy,
did you know that
you had sorry to cut you off, man. I just wanted to get clarification for your question. This guy had the first child with you, and only the
3. My first 3 children. Yep, my 2 sons and my daughter.
Okay, so he had the first 3 were with you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now, before you guys got married, did you know about his party habits?
Nope. To tell you the truth, I'd never even seen cocaine in my whole life.
Did he have?
I knew about it, but I'd never actually seen it with my own eyes until I was like 22 years old.
But so he didn't have an addiction problem before you guys got married that you knew of, or
nope.
Signs of?
Not at all. He was very happy, upbeat, active in his, active, happy person. He's a very happy person. So I knew then that he had changed, but I figured that even though the bipolar have got worse because of it, and that we weren't getting along because of that, sometimes it's impossible to convince people what the problem is. They don't see it like that. I think, he just didn't see it like that.
Sure. Now, I think, and I'm sorry, Michael, I'm gonna make this brief, but I think that when there are substance abuse problems involved, it's very clear to point out what the issue is, right? But is that really all that was going on behind closed doors, or was there anything?
I'll never know.
He had to have started with the substance abuse and partying for a reason, right?
Yeah.
I don't want, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying, oh, Maegan, it's your fault. No, I'm not saying that. But what were things going on behind, before all of that started? Closed doors, you and him.
To me, we were a normal family, normal everyday family. That's what it is. We didn't really live that lifestyle. It all just changed over that summer with that group of people and the cycle of the bullshit. I don't know. It can change your whole life really fast, the people that you keep around you. Yeah, and now he could have been going through some things maybe that I don't know about, that we didn't talk about, but we were happy, and we had goals, and we had money, and we had cars, and we had children, and we had, we were content, I would say that I know. But like I said, groups of people, you always got to watch who you have around you, because it can change really fast.
So 2 questions.
I'm still learning that today,
I have is how old was your oldest when he left, and what was the toll that it took on the kids? Is he, I know after all the PPOs, is he in their lives at all? When kids get older, they want to know still about all of their parents, both of their parents. So is he still inside their lives as well?
Okay, yeah, Dominic was 7 years old. 7 years old when we divorced. At first, it was really easy as far as figuring out, okay, they went every other weekend to his house. We went to front of the court. We went through the divorce. We got all those basic things done that happen. And didn't really know what we were getting ourselves into, because life was not easy after the divorce. It could be really, really messed up for a while, so we weren't prepared for that. And he's good to the kids. He loves the crap out of his kids. He's a good dad. Still, it's just me. I'm his trigger. So I don't know. He just hated me, I think, for that. Because I just said no, and it changed. I don't know how to explain exactly where my feelings changed, but I can pinpoint pretty much where it came from, you know.
So
I don't know. He's still mad at me today. Like, he'll pick the kids up and just give me the and drive away, you know.
So
But
he is in the kids' lives right now.
yeah, he is. He eventually down the road lost his visitation and his custody. He did. He's supposed to have supervised visits with them, but now that they're getting older, you know, I've always left it up to the kids, and I gauge them, and they, you know, we talk about it. So, you know, there was points where my daughter didn't really want to go. She wouldn't go over there, and it would be for reasons like, well, he took all my stuff on my dresser and threw it all off at like 7 a.m. and was, you know, having a crazy fit in the morning. And she didn't go back to his house for probably 2 years, and she still to this day is careful about where and when they go places and how's dad's mood and stuff like that. So, you know, she watched me. I really have had to keep my thumb on top of his forehead for a long time, because as soon as I let go, it's like a ticking time bomb, and that scares me. So, I mean, I'm glad the courts have handled it pretty well. You know, he's fought for custody so many times. Me and the kids, we've lost a lot, and he sits back and laughs at us. You know, I met Michael Bowie at an after-school program because me and the kids ended up having to go to a shelter to get Section 8 because I was tired of having. Just now, 10 years later, after we're divorced, maybe for the last couple of years, life has been very good. And I'm glad I had to go through all the hard times afterwards. But I wish we didn't have to do that at all. You know, I wish we could have been that happy family and it worked out perfect and all that. But I think as kids, we know we're taught how to argue and, you know, to work things out. We aren't. Like, to actually fix the problems. Nobody really ever taught me personally that part of it. So, yeah, it's a struggle. It's really hard when you get a divorce, and I'm sure it's hardest on the kids, you know, but it makes them tougher too. You know, as long as you protect them, that's the main goal, I think, is always keep those kids protected and never forget that they're the innocent ones. They're the ones that are vulnerable. They're the ones that have the problems. They're the ones that are hurt the most, and take your own feelings and put them aside. So I've learned that the most out of all the divorce and everything.
I just want to say I don't.
Do you feel like you've done
I don't know the process. Sorry to cut you off. I don't know if you were talking, Manny, but I don't have kids, so I don't know the process in terms of it. You said that he had to fight for custody. Do the kids not have a say in terms of who they want to live with? How did they decide custody?
No, they don't really, at the point where you have someone who's got anger issues and doesn't get them under control and doesn't go through therapy and show that they want to try and they just want to take from you, you know. That's all really that was about. And I always believed and had faith that you can't take something that God gave me. That's going to be up to him. So, you know, I prayed about it. So I've had a public defender, or not public defender, but I had because he went and filed for divorce, actually. So I had a public lawyer help me. You know, I didn't pour a bunch of money into it. He kind of just did himself in, honestly. I mean, he wouldn't even pay his child support, but he's in there fighting for custody, you know, type of person. It's just to waste my time, frustrate me, make me nervous, cause anxiety, you know, like it caused a lot of trauma, big time. Having to worry all the time, like what's going to happen with your kids, and to be accused of being a bad parent when you know you're a good parent and you know you're doing this for a good reason. Like, you know, as bad as it hurts, I will take that to keep my kids away from that type of lifestyle, those type of friends, that kind of situation. And hopefully they can learn not to be like us, to be better. That's all I want for them, just to be better.
That's what I was going to ask you, because, I mean, for everybody watching, if you haven't already, make sure you go watch Maegan's first couple episodes where she speaks about her problems, right, with growing up and her parents. So in one of those episodes, you talked about sort of breaking the cycle, right? And I mean, do you feel like you've done that with your children, or maybe are your children going to have to fight some of these same battles of their own? Like, what can you say about that, about breaking the cycle with your children that, you know, was sort of passed down to you?
It's an everyday thing, you know. I was just thinking about all the talks that me and my son just had over the summer till he went back to college, you know, just yesterday. I'm gonna cry. It sucks. But every morning, you know, he'd wait for me to wake up and he'd be like, all right, Mom, you want to go sit on the porch with me? We'd just go sit out there and we'd talk. And, you know, we talk about everything. We talk about news. We talk about life. We talk about stuff we've been through, and we talk like normal people. So breaking that cycle, yeah, I mean, you can't, it's going to come back around at some point. We all know that, like a revolving door, you know, unless you break it. But once it's broke, expect it to come back around every once in a while. So as long as you're aware and you're expecting it and you can look for the signs and use your discernment, it's kind of what I just try to teach the kids, because I don't teach them this stuff's not going to happen to you and you're not going to experience these things. I can't say that, but I can help them see it and not go down that path, you know.
Sure, absolutely.
Well,
Now, another thing we can...
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
I was gonna say, well, you know, I mean, you talk about, like, another thing we can talk about was, you know, that relationship that you and your son have, the oldest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think he's at an age now where he sort of understands what you went through and what sort of he went through. You know, I mean, he went through the whole divorce thing. So, what are those conversations like? I mean, like, really in depth. What are those conversations like? Is he resentful? Is he like, you know, Mom, we'll get through this? Is he like, I'm not gonna do that? Or do you guys not even have that combo yet?
No, he is, I'm sure it sucks at some point, but I don't know. I think they feel more like I did about when my parents split up. I felt like it was better. You know, I really did. I thought it was better for everybody. We try not to use the kids or put them in the middle of stuff ever. I always tell them, it's between me and your dad, it's between me and your dad. That's it, you know. Sure. That's it. So, I don't know. I should talk to him about it, but he's a boy, and he'll just be like, ugh, whatever, Mom. You know, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm a tough guy. Yeah, I'm good. Are you good? Like, that's what it'd be like. So no, he's really good with me and his dad. He loves the crap out of both of us.
Looking at in closing, and I don't want to get too in depth in it because I want to leave the show at a cliffhanger where we'll talk about it on the next episode. But coming out of a divorce, you're now single, ready to mingle. Did you come across anybody else? Did you start dating? How long afterwards? Did you meet somebody, and if so, where?
Okay. I had a couple of boyfriends. There were a couple of boyfriends. Nothing serious, because I don't think I could even try to love somebody for a while, you know, like that just feeling was gone for a minute. So I was like, you know, I'm just going to be good to myself. You know, I'm probably not going to be good to you. That's what I would tell people. I'm not going to be good for you. So let's just not do this to yourself. You don't want me right now. I just want to focus on my babies and figure out how to be by myself. I never was taught that either. I was raised to be the wife at home with the kids, and then I'm like, oh my God, what kind of thing did I just get myself into? But I did meet somebody, and I did definitely marry him, so I got remarried. I did.
How long after your first marriage did that happen?
It was...
Did you meet this person?
We got married 3 years later, so I met him about a year later. So we were together for 2 years and got married. Yeah, that lasted like 3 months.
Where did you meet?
It was way too soon. I met him at the club. I met him at a bar.
Oh, at a bar.
That was so embarrassing.
Okay.
It was cool for a while.
You're going to lead off the next episode on that? I know that you said it didn't last long, but I mean, the audience as well as me and Manny, we both want to know like what happened inside of that one, and we'll have other questions to kind of gauge the audience and gauge your mind for kind of reminiscing down memory lane of your story, because you've had a hell of a story, I think, up to this point that we've learned so much about. And I think that that's the whole purpose of this show, is to show everybody that we all have a story to share, a story to tell. We look and smile in people's faces, we say hello to people that we know or don't know, but we don't know the scars that they have on their body and how deep those scars go. Everybody has a unique story to tell, and I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. I want to tell you guys thank you so much for helping me with this, because I really have been struggling with doing a bio or trying to tell my story. Like every time I'll pick up a pen to do it, I just can't. I just won't. And I don't even have any interest in it. I want to tell other people's stories, not my story, but I'm very thankful. Thank you so much.
Your story is so beneficial, and there was something you said inside the episode, and I'll wrap it up here, is that you were talking about how, the bad days and how you don't miss them and didn't like them and everything else. And there's something that I've learned through my story, the story of Michael Bowie, is that you really need to value and appreciate all of those bad days. You cannot have good days without having bad days. You can't be as strong as what you are today if it wasn't good days didn't build you up to be strong. Bad days built you up to be strong. Bad days made you who you are. So bad days at the end of the day, bad days are something you have to treasure and love and be humble about, because that's what makes those good days 20 times better.
Absolutely, I agree.
So thank you so much for joining in and tuning in with us, everybody. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell. Do all that jazz. Send up some smoke signals. Tie a message to a pigeon's leg and send it on its way. Put a message inside of a bottle and throw it inside of the ocean. We don't want to throw it throw it on the floor just scrambling, because, if it breaks and all those shards of glass, it might cut or kill Manny, and we don't want that to happen because he lives on the floor.
And I'm sure everyone knows someone who can relate to this one, so send it to them. Share it.
I need this, Michael.
So everyone, thanks again for tuning in, and we will see you guys next week.
Good night.
How much